I'm Andrew Droz, the Photoshop teacher at the New York City Lab School in Manhattan. You may have just watched a mini documentary on how my students and I created marketing for our school sports teams. In this video, I'm going to share with you some suggestions for items you might need if you want to do something similar, along with suggestions for mechanisms to help facilitate collaboration between you and your students. I'm fortunate to have both Canon and Nikon DSLRs with telephoto zoom lenses, but I'm telling you, whatever camera you have will do the trick, because what's more important, at least in my experience, is lighting. Now, I picked up this lighting equipment, this little stand and umbrella for about 50 bucks off of Amazon. Kids really like it because, one, it enhances the quality of their images, and the kids really like posing underneath the lights. There are various ways to organize and share photos with students online. I found that Google Photos works the best, but maybe you have a smart alternative? If so, please let me know. The best platform for distributing resources and collecting student work is Google Classroom. Now, the very first task for this project involves photographing the specific sports teams at their games and practices, and typically there's a yield of thousands, 5,000 to 6,000 photos I found. So the next step is to curate. That involves going through identifying which photos look best, and then I create a spreadsheet. I hyperlink those photos and distribute that to the kids, because the kids in the subsequent classes will create selections using the various selection methods, namely the magnetic lasso and the quick selection tool, elliptical marquee, etc., and create PNGs. We then take those PNGs in that folder in Google Classroom and share that folder back with the students so that they can then benefit from their students' work. They use those PNGs to create collages and to create really stellar design that they would otherwise be unable to do. One of the ways that we celebrate student work in our hallways is by printing it up in a larger format. To do that, we use the Post-Eraser app, and here is simply 4 sheets of legal-sized paper, 8.5 by 14 inches. Post-Eraser will slice and dice the JPEG to the specified dimensions that you want. It's easy. I highly recommend it. And here's how it works. You're going to go to the Post-Eraser website, and you'll notice that if you click on News, they haven't updated it since 2008, but that's okay because it still does a trick. So you're going to download the application, and when you open it, you're going to want to input an image, and you're going to simply find a JPEG or a poster or something that works well for you, and I'll pop this one in. And I can see that here's a thumbnail of the image. I'm going to click Next. You're going to specify whether you want it portrait or landscape. I'm going to want it on landscape because of the original orientation. And then I'm going to have it in letter rather than legal or tabloid. We're going to click on Next, and you pretty much want this as the default. And so when we go to the 4th page, step 4 of 5, you can specify the dimensions in absolute size. But 95% of the time I'm doing it simply in pages. So typically we're going to do, in this case it would be 3 by 3 or 4 by 4, or I might come up with something that looks a little bit like this. And then when you click on Next, it's going to want to save the poster, and I'll just simply save it as baseball. And when we save it, it's going to open up in the your PDF reader, and you can see that here it is. You're going to want to get a paper cutter, and when you do, lots of transparent tape, and get ready for lots of enthusiasm in your school's hallways. Creating short little documentaries is another great way to celebrate student work, and this is the edit of the video you're watching right now, and here is the sports marketing video. And if you look at the timeline, you see that there's a lot going on. This was a really fun collaborative effort between my students and myself. You'll notice that all their work is in this sort of segment right here, and one of the fun things that I did with this documentary is superimpose their work into real life locations. One of the ways that I did this was simply walking around my neighborhood in Chelsea and capturing footage, in this case of the Wi-Fi kiosk.
On a mission to change that.
And then I superimposed their work created, of course, in Photoshop and distorted it so it fit right over this particular screen. They really liked that. They were super helpful with writing the dialogue. Students came up with all the music. You'll have a lot of fun doing this with your own students. If you have any suggestions for how we can streamline this process or techniques that we can use to enhance the student experience, please let me know. Thank you for watching.